Welcome to POW Talk with Bishop Womack-El, better known as POW, your professor of wellness. A world-class naturopathic holistic scientist and herbalist who's been improving people's lives for over 40 years through God's divine word. POW will share life-changing principles for your health and wealth, covering a cornucopia of subjects on holistic living that will refresh, encourage, and guide you towards a higher zone of living. It's time for you to be, do, and have all that the Creator originally intended for you. So let's get up, over the top with your most trusted name in holistic living. Life coach, speaker, and author, the prophet of wellness, Bishop Womack-El.
All right. Thank you all for joining me on this very special call on our Wednesday Wellness. I want to talk about briefly something that is really missing, and it's the consciousness of metabolic mastery, which is really the secret to true health, the secret to VO2 and body voltage. Now, let me explain what is metabolic mastery first of all. Okay, what is metabolic mastery? Well, metabolic mastery is the state of optimum control, efficiency, and awareness of how your body produces and how your body actually uses energy. It is not just about burning calories. A lot of times when people use this word very loosely called metabolism, first thing to think about is burning calories. I have a high metabolism. I have a slow metabolism. That is a small, just fraction of what metabolism is. It's not about burning calories. It's about mastering the very life force, the very essence that fuels every cell, organ, and system in your body. Now, when you really understand metabolic or metabolism or metabolic mastery, you begin to understand that health is not just the absence of disease. It's the presence of vibrant energy. So what exactly is metabolism? Because again, most of you actually think that metabolism is basically burning calories. And I really want you to take that and put that far away from you, because that's far from the truth of really what metabolism is. Metabolism really refers to all the biochemical processes in the body and all the biochemical processes in the body that convert food and oxygen into energy. When a person becomes sick, they lose something called voltage, they lose frequency, they lose vibration, but they lose also oxygen. And when they lose oxygen, all the biochemical processes in the body begin to go to a demise, and cells do something called apoptosis. Okay, somebody need to mute. When you come on, please mute. Okay, we're recording. So what happens is the cells go through a death, and when the cells go through a death, the body is declining, and the body loses frequency, then it loses vibration, then it loses voltage, and it loses life. And what keeps all this together is what we call metabolism. It refers to all the biochemical processes in the body that convert food and oxygen into energy. And it includes two main components, okay? One is called catabolism. That's breaking down food and molecules to do one thing, release energy. Then anabolism, okay, which is using that energy to build and repair tissue, lean tissue, muscle mass, etc. So in reference to health, health is not, let me just take some herbs, Let me be a vegan. Let me be a vegetarian. Let me do paleo. Let me do keto. Those are all nice things, but if your metabolism is off, it doesn't. I've seen over 40 years, which I've been doing holistic medicine, preventative medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, naturopathy, you name it. I have done this stuff for over 40 years. It probably would surprise you that the most unhealthiest people that I've seen are the vegetarians. And you would think that they would be more healthier. And it's not true. And it has nothing to do with because they no longer consume flesh. It could be simply this, on which I've seen the majority. Their digestion is messed up, their stomach is messed up, their enzymatic properties are messed up. And what is all that? Metabolism. Their metabolism is not right. Okay? Now, I've seen vegetarians, I've seen vegans, bad health. Because it's not, now it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You know, if your metabolism is right, it really doesn't make a difference whether you do ketogenic, whether you do paleo, whether you are lacto vegetarian. It doesn't. Your metabolism is more important than anything. Because I've seen, you know, I had a girlfriend years ago, of course years ago, because I'm happily married right now, but many years ago, and she was a strict vegan, man. But she had a terrible digestive system, and even eating certain vegetables, her stomach got messed up, right? It wasn't the vegetables, it was her metabolism was messed up. And there would be times that she wanted to vomit and times that she had acid reflux because of the metabolism. And when the metabolism is messed up, again, remember, metabolism refers to all the biochemical processes in the body that convert food and oxygen into energy. So when we think of the reference to health, if metabolism is not the first thing that you are paying attention to, it's going to affect the frequency of your cells. It's going to affect the vibration of your cells and your health, and your voltage is going to be down. Your voltage is definitely going to be down. So again, in reference to health, metabolism is how efficiently and effectively your body can burn fuel, okay? And fuel comes in the form of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, a lot of people who call themselves vegetarians and vegans, they are really, how would I say, they really are. It's not. I know I'm making up the word. They carbohydrates, carbohydrates, because they just do a lot of carbs, and they might have very minimum protein, even though vegetables do have protein. Okay, nuts and seeds and so forth have protein, and that could be very bad. People who eat nuts and seeds destroy their metabolism because they eat the nuts and seeds, first of all, in the wrong form. How many times have you put your hand in a bag of nuts or seeds that they were deshelled? They were not in the shell. Okay. Well, most likely you're eating something that's rancid and is so hard on your metabolism, so hard on your digestion. So you have a lot of vegans and vegetarians that will consume a lot of seeds, a lot of nuts. They don't digest it. Their stomach bloats like crazy. Why? Because their metabolism is off. So again, and I know I'm repeating because I really want you to understand this. When the metabolism is effective, is efficiently and effectively, properly running, you're going to burn carbohydrates, you're going to burn fats, you're going to burn proteins, that's burn fuel. Then you're going to generate what's called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's what that means. We cut it short so we don't say all that. ATP. You're going to generate that. That's your body's energy currency. Everybody got to have ATP. adenosine triphosphate. That's your energies, your body's energy currency. And then if your metabolism is efficiently running right and effectively, your body can eliminate waste. There are a lot of people constipated, and constipation is for the skinny and the overweight. If their metabolism is not right, and there's some people that go have bowel movements, but they're not emptying out everything. And you see this very, very much pronounced in vegans and vegetarians. They either get extremely bloated or gassy or bloated, eating seeds, eating nuts, eating vegetables. And don't let them eat bread. Forget about it. They bloat, they bloat, they bloat. Now, why is this? They're not eliminating everything. Here's another common thing: parasites inside the colon tract. What do the parasites do? The parasites is eating the meal that you fed them, and they're not leaving. Why would I leave? I live rent free. I get fed for free. So the parasites are in a lot of people's guts, especially people who have this mentality that they're into health, and their energy, they're not functioning at optimum. They need to take a certain amount of naps, or they're very lethargic or fatigue, and sometimes chronic fatigue. Well, this has nothing to do with them being vegan, has nothing to do with them being vegetarian or paleo or carnivore. It has nothing to do with that. They don't know their measures. And most people don't know what their metabolic rate is. And when they don't know their metabolic rate, then they go, I want to get healthy. They go to the gym or they do some cardio and they're wiped out. Now their metabolism is worse. And they're like, I don't understand this. I got on the treadmill. And if y'all ever see those little tablets on the treadmill that gives you measurements and is telling you what your heart rate should be. Anybody ever seen that? You're on an exercise bike or you on a step mill, and there's a little thing that tells you should be in your zone, your heart rate zone. Most people don't know their heart rate zone nor their heart rate variability. So what happens, they're just blowing gaskets and fuses, and they're extremely just wiped out after exercise. Did they do a healthy thing? Yes, they did. Here's the part that they didn't do right. They didn't stay in their zone, their heart zone, because they don't know where their metabolic rate is or the number. Maybe they're supposed to be at 70% or 80%, and they should have a heart rate monitor or a watch that records your heart rate. That should go a certain amount of beats. And when you go out of that range, you go out of your metabolic range, your body will just crash. It will just crash. And I see people all the time when they go to the gym. They go to the gym, they go down the street, they get a cup of coffee because they have crashed. And they get a cup of coffee because they know that caffeine kicks them up for about an hour or two. But then when they go to work or whatever, they crash more. Because that's not the answer. You don't have a caffeine deficiency. You don't have a cup of cappuccino deficiency or an espresso deficiency. You just don't know what your metabolic rate is. And even if you don't exercise and you're just doing simple walking, and you're like, and you got your heart rate up. And if you don't know your metabolic rate and you go above that or even way under that, and you're supposed to be doing some type of activity, your body is burning the wrong energy the wrong way. And you're not going to rebuild. So this is so important to understand in reference to health. Metabolism is how efficiently, how effectively your body can recover, regenerate cells, eliminate waste, generate ATP, and burn fuel in the form of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, so what are you saying? You need to know the importance of VO2. VO2, and the VO2, there are different types of VO2. The VO2 I want you to focus on, and when you go to your doctor, or if you have a real good personal trainer, this is how you know you got a good personal trainer. As your trainer, and your trainer shouldn't even train you until he knows what your VO2 max is. Now, some of you who are clients of mine, you know, before I take you on the gym, I check your voltage, and in that voltage reading, I already know what your VO2 is. So I want to see what your voltage is, and or I'll check, some other specimens and so forth, because I want to see what you're capable of. And if I know your metabolism is not capable, some of y'all know the step mill we have. I'm not going to put you on the step mill because you're going to faint. All right. There's some people on here, I put you on the step mill and walk away and leave you on there for 20 minutes. Because I know you can do it even when your mind is saying, I can't do it, because I already checked your VO2 and your voltage. And even if your voltage is low, but your VO2 is giving me your metabolic rate, I know what you can do when your mind is playing games with you and don't. So you might say, well, what are you talking about? So what we want to measure is called VO2 max. VO2 max stands for volume of oxygen maximum. Everybody got that? Volume of oxygen maximum. That means the highest rate at which your body can use oxygen during intense activity. So there's some of you have done 1,000 jumping jacks with me, and is that right? 1,000 jumping jacks. I see got Vanessa on here, Catherine, and they would send me they would do it with me, and then I would have them do it on their own and send me a Zoom video. All right. Now, why in the world would anybody tell somebody to do 1,000 jumping jacks? Is not candy, y'all. Because I knew what their volume of oxygen maximum was, and I knew what their vibration as well as their voltage was. Now, everybody can't do this. Some people have a heart attack. Okay? Some people who feel, even got their VO2 max right, they feel like, oh my God, stuff is coming through my chest. You know what I'm saying? So, this is vitally important. So, I hope y'all got that. VO2 stands for the volume of oxygen maximum. That's the highest rate at which your body can use oxygen through intense activity. So why does this matter? It is one of the best indicators of cardiovascular and metabolic fitness. It is one of the best indicators if you got a good heart or not. And if you don't have a good heart, you want to get VO2 max up and running. And there's easy ways to do that. If you got a really good personal trainer and they don't know what your lean tissue is and your body mass index and number one, your VO2 max, that's not a good trainer. They just got you exercising and don't even know if you have the capacity to do it. You need to actually make sure you have a body composition analysis. Okay? They're not just putting you on the scale, because that's the wrong weight. Okay? You don't want to just you want to know lean tissue and body fat composition. How much body fat do I have, as well as how much lean tissue do I have, and how much water weight do I have. Those three things. And before you put me on this particular program or training, or tell me to get on a step mill or a treadmill for 20 or 30 minutes, we need to make sure I don't have a heart attack. So I need to make sure I'm in the right heart rate variability, or the VO2 max. Remember, volume of oxygen maximum. That's one of the best indicators, again, of cardiovascular and metabolic fitness. A higher VO2 max means your body is more efficient at producing energy and flushing out waste. I'll say it again. A higher VO2 max means that your body, and I'll make this recording available to you if those of you, if you want this recording, I'll make it available to you. I'll just tell you to email me, bishop@bishopwomack.com. I'll no charge or nothing. I'll just send it to you. But just say, Bishop, can you send me today's dealing with maximizing my metabolic profile? I'll do that for you. Okay. Just take my email, bishop@bishopwomack.com. All right, let me get back on subject. So a higher VO2 max means your body is efficient at producing energy and flushing out waste. Now, why does it matter? It reflects the health of your lungs. It reflects the health of your heart. It reflects the health of your blood vessels. And what's really important that we don't hear much about today, like back in the 90s, is mitochondria. Mitochondria is the energy of your cell. You are as young as your cells. If your cells are old, you're old. And you want to always keep your cells young. Okay? We met somebody, me and my wife went to New York today, and it was funny but not funny. The person was 55, and of course y'all know I'm 66, and they were a conductor of the Amtrak, and they were just having a struggle, and they were talking about retirement. And I was like, it was like, oh, I can't wait to retire. They're like 55, and I'm like, I'm ready to get started and do more stuff. And it has to do with your mitochondria. And most of us, we don't really think of that because we don't know that there are measures that we need to actually check these things out. And it's your metabolic rate. So let me say this to you. The measure of life is in your breath. The measure of vitality is in your VO2. If you don't get nothing else out of this, I want you to know this, and I'm going to tell you, you can get these things measured. A lot of people don't get there. They always get the heart check, you get the heart check, you get your blood pressure check, but a lot of people don't get their breath checked. And I'm not talking about whether your breath smells good or bad. I'm not talking about that, even though there's a science to that as well. Foul breath actually comes from the colon. When you smell a person's breath that's really bad, it's not the teeth area, even though the gums can have infections. My wife is a dentist. It's not just the gums, it's the colon. There used to be an old saying, I don't hear it no more, but it all started like this back in the 60s, that death begins in the colon. I don't know if anybody ever heard that. Well, foul breath comes from the stomach. When you begin to balance the cellular debris and the acids and the undigested food in the digestive tract, and it's going back to metabolism, you begin to actually deal with that thing called halitosis or bad breath. But you got to take care of the colon. Well, this is the same thing. The measure of life is in your breath. The first thing that God did that caused that hunk of dirt to become life, he breathed. God breathed into the nostrils of man, and man became a living soul. So the measure of life is in your breath. The measure of vitality is in your VO2. Now, metabolic link to this. Oxygen is the final electron in the production of ATP in your mitochondria. Without oxygen, let me tell you something. You can live a while without food. Oh, yes, you can. You can live days without food. Think about it. You could live even some days without water. I wouldn't want to, but you could. But you ain't going to last too long without breath and oxygen. You can go 21. Some of you can go 40 days because it was done. 40 days. I've done 21-day fasts, right? Yeah, you could do it. And you can go without days without water. But oxygen, you're not going to be around long. If you do 5 minutes or 10 minutes without oxygen, that'll be a miracle. So without oxygen, your body turns anaerobic systems, which produce far less energy and to produce more acid. That's what anaerobic is. You're producing more acid. So VO2 max equals energy capacity, which equals health reserve. This is the key. This will help you with some of everything. If you are diabetic, get your VO2 max up. What are you told? You're told to watch your insulin. You're told to watch your insulin levels. No, you need to watch your VO2 max. You're told to actually watch your blood pressure. No, you need to watch your VO2 max because your VO2 max equals energy capacity, which equals health reserve. So all of this concerning metabolism helps you with the voltage of the body. Now, the role, some of you have heard me talk about this over and over for years, but the role of voltage in the body, see, voltage equals life force. Voltage equals life force. Every cell in your body has a membrane, and that membrane has a potential, which is a tiny voltage across its membrane that drives all the cell functions. That's how you get nutrient uptake in your cells, waste elimination out of your cells, apoptosis when it's a bad cancer cell, a good cell crashes into it, helps it to die. Cellular communication, healing and rejuvenation, all of this takes place because of voltage. The body is an electric battery. When that voltage drops, chronic disease sets in. Anybody can get healed, delivered, and set free if you keep that voltage up. And that voltage stays up by keeping proper metabolism. This is why I have seen great success over 40 years of people who could barely walk, people who were told the final death sentence, who had carcinogenic cells running throughout their body, people who had radiation therapy, nuclear medicine, chemotherapy. I've seen it all over 40 years. People coming to our wellness facility on stretchers and wheelchairs and even ambu care, carrying them up. And I'm like, let's deal with their metabolism and get their voltage right. And the body begins to rejuvenate. The body doesn't have a Zantac deficiency. The body doesn't have a pharmaceutical deficiency. The body doesn't have a drug deficiency. The body has a deficiency because the metabolism is wrong, the vibration is down, the frequency is down, and the voltage is down. And I've worked in the OR and the emergency room, and I've seen this over and over. When a patient is about to flatline, they get paddles, and they take the paddles and they tell everybody to clear so you don't get shocked. And they shock the body. And what are they doing? Putting voltage in. But here's the problem. It's kind of late. And the percentages are some might make it through, but a lot of them don't. How about we get, and we don't even need to get the paddles because God has designed food that actually have the voltage in it. How about we put the voltage in so we don't have to go to the emergency room, or we begin to make lifestyle changes and we begin to know what our deficiencies and chemical imbalances are, and we begin to minister to those particular things to avoid urgent care, emergency rooms, and unnecessary operations, y'all. The body is an electric battery When the voltage drops, chronic disease sets in. So, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of homework and something to do. Healthy cellular voltage, when you have healthy cells, they operate at minus 70 to minus 90 millivolts. Now, there are still many good doctors around, not all, but there's some good ones. They know this. And you want to know, Doc, what is my cells vibrating at? What is the voltage of my cell? Okay, I don't want to know. I don't want to know the cardiogram. Cardiogram is just no. Cardiogram lets you know whether you're having a heart attack or not. I need to know way before a heart attack, because the only way the heart attack is taking place is because your cells are dying. See, your food becomes your blood becomes your cells become your tissues become your organs make up all the systems of your body: circulatory, muscular system, digestive system, endocrine, blah blah blah. But it comes from what kind of food you've been putting in your body. Okay, and we know the season is about to change, y'all. Before y'all know it, it's summer, and you're gonna hit the boardwalk and vacation. Y'all know vacation time. You eat a little bit more than you're supposed to. Barbecues and things like that, and everything is not good going into our body, because it will lower down our metabolism and it'll mess up our cellular voltage. So, and I'm gonna have y'all you can ask me questions and so forth, because I know I'm talking fast, but I want you to get this. Healthy cells operate around minus 70 millivolts to minus 90 millivolts. Now, a drop in voltage leads to sluggish metabolism, as well as poor healing and chronic illness. And when the fall and the winter comes, this opens you up to all kinds of free radicals, all kinds of viruses. This is why I could say boldly, during the time of COVID in 2022, we lost nobody in our church, our family. Nobody got COVID. Nobody got sick. We didn't even take the shots or anything. Didn't have to. We kept our voltage up. And we didn't close our doors. We kept ministering to people, and we were serving the public, serving them food and so forth, had trucks and so forth to help the community out. We wasn't going to get sick as long as we kept our voltage up. Now, we didn't have our voltage down, man. You probably needed mass and everything. We wouldn't, ain't no telling what would have happened. And we have my two moms, who y'all know is way up there in age. If I'm 66, way up there in age, and I never kept them away, because we were hitting those voltage machines. We were on those machines constantly. Okay, so a healthy cell operates at minus 70 to minus 90 millivolts. And probably some of you probably never even heard that. Oh my God, I have cells in my body that they're electrical, and I need to keep this electrical current up. It's just like you have a cell, whether you know it or not. If you drive a car, you have a battery in that car, and there are cells in that battery, and that battery runs down. You need somebody else with some jumper cables that have a good battery, that they will allow you to put cables from their car to your car to charge it and get you started. And that's not the key. The key, your car might start, but then the car needs to run for a while. You drive it, and while you're driving, you're actually activating more voltage. Okay? Because some of you probably did this before, where you started your car, you started driving, and you cut it off. That didn't start again because you did not allow that voltage to continue to circulate. So your body is the same way. A drop in voltage leads to sluggish metabolism, chronic illness, and poor healing. Now, disease states, if you got any kind of disease state going on right now, it often occurs when the voltage drops below minus 20 millivolts. That's why I don't care how many people come to see me. Y'all know what am I going to do? I'm checking your voltage first. Your voltage is telling me if your metabolism is working. Now, if your metabolism is slow, your energy is slow. Even when you break foods down, it's going to be slow. So disease states occur below minus 20 millivolts. And the way you write that is a minus sign, 20, a small m, capital V. Now, this is key. And thank you for staying with me this long. It might seem like a whole lot of stuff, but it's very simple. You get this, and some of you heard of the different things like potential hydrogen, pH. It's very famous with water. I drink alkaline water. Okay, you've heard that before. pH water. My water is 8.0 or 9 point. Well, potential hydrogen, pH. It's the same. It's really the same word for voltage. That's what it is. And drinking certain type of water is not necessarily going to make your voltage goes up, because a lot of those waters that they tell you the pH is and they're putting it on the bottle, it's a marketing strategy, because a lot of those waters have a chemical in it to raise the voltage up. You don't want a chemical for voltage. You want real voltage. Okay? Now, the waters that I find that are good and don't have chemicals, and it's been like that for years, is Fiji. Fiji is like 7.4 pH. Mountain Valley, you can get that at your local health food store. Mountain Valley is good. That's like 7.4 to 8.0, depends which one you got. They have the blue label one as well as the red. Those waters are good. A lot of those other waters that I'm not going to name, they have a chemical in it. So people are like, oh man, my water is 9 point something. Yeah, it's a chemical in there. That's your body doesn't have a chemical deficiency. It might have a voltage deficiency, but not a chemical deficiency. Black water too is good. Okay. That's real good. That's like a 8.4. That's a real good water. So get this formula: metabolism plus voltage connection. Mitochondria, what is that? That's your energy factories. Inside every one of your cells, you have an energy factory. It's called mitochondria. That requires both oxygen and electrical charge to produce ATP. Now, some of you had this when you were in school, that every cell has an electron. Y'all remember that? And your cells also have a proton. So you have a cell that is electrical. It's supposed to have an electron and a proton and a neutron. Now, what has happened as we get older and we're not as active and we don't eat right and we don't sleep right and we're radiating our body with electromagnetic radiation through cell phones and computers all the time and Wi-Fi, we're messing up the signals of our cells. And then for those of you that are sleeping in your bedroom with a TV, as well as a cell phone and a laptop, you are messing up your circadian rhythm, your sleep rhythms, as well as the polarity of your body, and you're messing up the cells, and you're slowing down metabolism and voltage. So it is so important to restore this back. So a healthy metabolism depends on proper voltage and vice versa. Low voltage equals low metabolism. So those of you that, I've seen you over years in the time, and I tell you, you know what? Your voltage is minus 15 millivolts. You have a low metabolism. Okay? So low voltage equals low metabolism, which equals low energy, which equals high inflammation. So some of you are like, oh man, I got problem with my legs, or I got ankle problems, or I can't digest, or when I eat I get bloated, or when I'm on my menstrual cycle, I'm getting crampy, or I have a heavy flow. All of that means low voltage, low metabolism, low energy, high inflammation. Now, why you must measure your metabolism, which is VO2, and why you got to measure your voltage. Yes, they took your weight, They took your blood pressure. They might even taken some panels to make, check your blood. Um, and I'm gonna tell you this, and some of you've heard me say this, and I'm gonna say it again. If you got blood work done, make sure you get C-reactive protein check. C-react, and if they don't, and doctors are really surprised when you ask them that. They're like, oh wow, this is an educated patient. C-reactive protein, because most of them will not do that. If you don't get your C-reactive protein, you might get your cholesterol, you might get the white blood cells, the red blood cells, you might even get your glucose. But if you don't have C-reactive protein on that blood panel, that's a wasted test. A wasted test. Because the C-reactive protein is also talking about your cardiovascular system, which is basically ruling your voltage and your metabolism. So make sure if you ever get any blood work, C-reactive protein needs to be in there. Or don't even waste your time doing it. Okay? All right. Let me get back on course. Now, you can't master what you don't measure. You can't master what you don't measure. This is why many people are having challenges even with weight. They're not measuring their weight. They're taking their weight, but they're not measuring their weight. There's a difference. You're not just body fat. You have lean tissue. You have a skeleton. You have water weight. You got to measure it all, because you're going to be discouraged. And you could actually be losing body fat, but you get discouraged because you got on the scale and the scale said that you gained 5 pounds. And it could be deceptive, because if you were one of my students and I'm training you, you're going to gain 5 pounds. But it's not going to be body fat. It's going to be lean tissue. It's going to be muscle. So if you just use the scale, you go, oh man, I gained 5 pounds. Yeah, you gained 5 pounds of muscle, but you actually lost 7 pounds of body fat. Now, how would I know that? I will put you on a body composition. And this is what a doctor should do, or a personal trainer. So we know where you are winning and where you're losing. You can't master what you don't measure. I hope this is making sense. So there's something, I'm going to give you a few things to work with. So when you go to your doctor, or you go to your personal trainer, or your healthcare practitioner, your herbalist, or your naturopath, you need to know, don't just let them hand you a panel of blood tests and go, okay, I'm telling you, I've seen so many people say, oh, the doctor said I was good. And you look at it, it's like, this is not good. He was just lazy, didn't want to read it to you because there's a lot of information. But this is your life, and you're paying him, or your insurance is paying him. So there's something called RMR. This is so important for your metabolism and your voltage. RMR means resting metabolic rate. Okay? Resting metabolic rate. What is that? It reveals how many calories you burn when you rest. How many calories you burn when you're just sitting in the chair. That's important. How many calories you burn when you're sleeping. Because if I see your RMR while if I see your RMR is really low, that means we got to do different types of exercises, because you're not burning calories out of RMR. So there are people who struggle, like, oh my God, I can't lose no body fat. No, that's not true. You just don't know what your measures are, and certain measures call for certain measures. So your RMR, which means rested metabolic rate, reveals how many calories you burn at rest. It helps you to tailor food and activity levels precisely, and it prevents undereating or overeating. That's why there's some people, I have them eat 5-6 times a day. There are others, I'm like, no, your RMR is bad. You don't need it. You can't do 5 or 6 times because your metabolism too slow. You need 1 time. Okay? Or you need 2. And there's some people, they eat 6 to 7 times. Now, it's not a Thanksgiving meal, okay? But it's based on what I know their RMR is. Now, this is the next thing that you need to get. Okay, and this is going to be this is recorded. Okay, so what you don't write down, don't worry about it. VO2 max. This reveals your aerobic fitness and capacity to recover. Meaning, let's say we did a 20-minute like non-stop high pack intensity workout. Some of you have been with me where we've done some serious workouts, right? And then afterwards, do you feel like collapsing? Do you feel like I got to go home and jump into bed and cover my head? All right, most likely your VO2 max is really down. But if your VO2 max is really up, you recover fast. You get yourself maybe a shake or a little breakfast or something, and you're ready to go. Like you feel good. So your VO2 max reveals your aerobic fitness, your capacity to recover, how quick you recover. Also, is crucial for designing smart cardiovascular workouts. And then your VO2 max indicates the mitochondria strength and also oxygen utilization. How well do you utilize oxygen? And this is so good for people who have hypertension. If a person gets a handle on this and they take 2 or 3 herbs for hypertension, you can begin to manage your blood pressure without any dangerous pharmaceutical drugs with side effects. But you got to master your VO2 max, and then maybe takes 2 or 3 herbs to actually help you, like hawthorn berries, and there's a lot. There's a whole lot. I don't want to start naming a whole bunch of herbs, but getting your VO2 max, some hawthorn berries, doing even certain types of medicinal foods like garlic and so forth. This stuff will actually, now you might not want to do garlic. You got to go to a social event. So there are other garlics that you can have that don't have high allicin. So you're not open up you could like not even open up your mouth. Garlic will come through your pores, especially in the summertime. Oh my God! If you ever took garlic and you could be on the toilet and the garlic having a bowel movement and the garlic is like, oh my God, it's stronger than anything because it's powerful. It has that thing called allicin in it. Okay, so this is really important. Again, your RMR, VO2 max, and then your body voltage. You use what's called an electrodiagnostic. Okay. We have it here. I'd be more than happy to even let you know what that is. Absolutely. You just come make an appointment. I'll let you know what your voltage is. This is important. This keeps you alive, y'all. Your body voltage reveals energy deficits in tissues and in organs, and it predicts disease before symptoms arise. I've been using this in conjunction with iridology and also doing Zytoscan and all this for years. And you can see stuff that's about to happen with a person way before their blood work shows it, because the body is electrical. So you reveal through knowing your body voltage, and I've already given you the system. If you're under 20 millivolts, your body is not, it's not good health. You're existing, but you're not really living. You really want to get that over minus 20 millivolts. You don't want to ever fall under minus 20 millivolts, and definitely under 10. Not good at all. Okay? So here's some tools to use, and I ain't going to keep you too much longer, okay? Thank you again for hanging in here with me. The tools to use: metabolic carts. They're metabolic carts. Your doctor should have it. A good personal trainer, a good holistic health center should actually have a metabolic cart for RMR or VO2. They're measuring your resting metabolic rate. They're measuring that. Just like you get a test for cholesterol, like cholesterol should never go over 200, okay? Should never go over 200. Well, okay, when you know that, or your body fat should never be over 20% body fat. That's just too much for your skeleton system, your skeletal system, as well as your cardiovascular system. That's just not right. So that's a tool. It's called metabolic carts, and some of you have had that where we put You're breathing into the tube, and we're actually measuring your VO2. Okay, so we're measuring RMR and also VO2. Now, something else is a tool that you can even get these online. It's called a heart rate variability monitor. We have a more professional one, I think a $30,000 unit that I use for clients. But you can get some cheap ones, and they're pretty good. Heart is called HRV, heart rate variability monitor. That tells you how your metabolism is doing. Okay. Also, body voltage testers. Some of you, when I stick that thing on your neck, that's what that is. A body voltage tester. And it's not a bad idea. You don't really have to go into extra expense with this, but it's not a bad idea because, I invest in a lot of things. How about investing in yourself? But let me tell you something. Nobody's going to take care of you like you. You might have children, you take care of them. You might have a wife, take care of them, a husband, take care of them. But, how do you take care of you? If you're not a priority, seriously, to yourself, ain't nobody gonna be a priority to you like you to you. So if you had to go ahead and get what is called a mitochondria function panel, do that. That's blood work, just seeing how are your cells behaving. I ain't talking about regular blood tests. This is something different. It's called a mitochondria function panel. And don't forget, check C-reactive protein as well. Real important. So here's the Trinity of true wellness. And write this down, please. This is the Trinity of true wellness. We talk about the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Well, there's a Trinity to wellness. It's called, number one, metabolism. How your body burns and utilizes energy. That's vital. I don't care how many herbs you take, how many vitamins you take, how many minerals you take. I don't care if you are on the treadmill for 2 hours. If your metabolism is not right, you're just wasting the herbs, the vitamins, the minerals, and you're wasting time on that treadmill. You got to have this right. How your body burns and utilizes energy, your metabolism. And the second part of the Trinity of true wellness is your VO2 max. How well your body uses oxygen for energy. And this is so important. Never enter into a training program just because somebody said they're a trainer. You could take a course for 3 months and become a personal trainer. That doesn't mean that they have experience. Okay. You want to, what's my VO2 max, sir? And what's my body composition analysis saying? Because I don't want you killing me, putting me on the wrong exercises. I can't take it and having a heart attack. No. Okay. So VO2 max, how well your body uses oxygen for energy. And the other part of the Trinity of true wellness is voltage. The electrical foundation for every healing and metabolic process in your body is because of voltage. When these three, metabolism, VO2 max, and voltage, when these three are aligned, your body becomes a self-repairing, high-performing system. And this is the key when someone takes what is called Bach flower remedies, or somebody takes trace minerals, or somebody does herbs, or they do proper juicing or wheatgrass or chlorophyll or chelation therapy. When these three are in line, your body actually uses those herbs or those supplements, and it repairs the body faster, and it becomes a high-performance system. This is why you have some people, they take 4 to 10 herbs, different types of herbs, and they get minimum results. It's not because the herbs are bad. Well, it could be. It could be. But for the most part, they don't have these three working. The metabolism, VO2 max, and the voltage. Again, when these three are working and aligned, your body becomes a high-performing system, a self-repairing, self-healing generated body. So Practical applications, how to increase all three. Boost your metabolism. You got to do strength training. You got to do circadian alignment. If you're going to sleep 12 o'clock and after 12, I already know your voltage is down. Because your voltage, your cells know when it's midnight. And here you still up. Your body is saying, and you're creating apoptosis. Your body's saying, man, they're not even working with us. So you got to have circadian alignment, and so many people are going to bed way after the time they should, and then get up early, and then wondering why you ain't got a lot of energy. And know what it is? It's a bad habit. Just a bad habit. So strength training, circadian alignment, and actually being on the proper supplementation program to boost your metabolism. So again, how to increase all three? I just told you the first one. You want to increase your VO2 max by doing zone 2 cardio training. Now, if you have a personal trainer, he should know what zone 2 is. You're never going to increase VO2 max in zone 1. It has to be zone 2. All you got to do is call HIIT. Okay? That's high intensity interval training. And then you got to raise voltage by infrared light, oxygen therapy, grounding, hydration, or chelation, or supplementation, or foods in season. Even eating foods out of season will lower your voltage. And then there's some spiritual parallels as well. I will do an injustice if I don't do this. And some of you know, I believe strongly in the Bible. And in Proverbs 20, verse 27, just because I'm a doctor, don't mean that, you're a doctor, you're not supposed to use the Bible. Well, if it wasn't for the Bible, none of this stuff would work. Okay, it wasn't for God's word and God being God, how he is God, none of this will work. And Proverbs 20, verse 27 gives us a spiritual parallel. It says, the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward parts of the belly. So just as the spirit provides inner light, your body's metabolism and VO2 and voltage light up your physical temple. If the candle is dim, low metabolism, the temple suffers. See, your job and my job is to keep our candle burning bright through health awareness. Sometimes we just need health awareness. Sometimes we just need to know, I don't care if you don't like how water it tastes, it's the liquid of life. And in order for me to actually function properly, I need this water because it's the liquid of life. Maybe you don't drink enough water. And sometimes we just need health awareness. So as I conclude, I want you, and feel free, here's my number. If you need to call me, talk to me, and need some help tips, or you even want to come to our wellness facility, I would be more than happy to help you out and in any kind of way possible. Here's my number. But before you take my number, you got to take ownership, y'all. Because some people say, oh, let me go see the doctor, or let me go see the naturopath, let me go see the herbalist. They're going to do it all for me. No, I'm not coming home with you. I got my old house. I got my old family. I'm not coming home. I love you. I'll help you. But I ain't coming home with you. You're going to have to do your part. There have been people who have gotten the greatest herbs ever. And I call them up and check and go, did you take your stuff? Oh, no, I didn't take it. I'm like, it's 2 weeks done passed. You didn't, and this costs money. You ain't got no money to throw away. If you ain't gonna take that, save your money because you're gonna probably need it for a surgery or a hospital or something. Like, you ain't got no money to be thrown away. This is ridiculous. And I mean it. 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's in the cabinet. So the cabinet is healthier. You're not. No, people, you got to take ownership. Okay, you got to take ownership. And a lot of times people want a doctor because they want the doctor to do something for them. And it's like, no, they're not going to do nothing for you. You're going to have to, even if you are pharmaceuticals, you got to take it. Okay? So true health is not in pills. I know that kind of disappointed because we wanted the quick fix. But true health is not in pills, it's not in hacks, it's not in gimmicks. It's in mastering your own energy. And if you want real power in life, got to master your metabolism. Measure your VO2 and maintain your voltage. And metabolic mastery is the gateway to vitality, rejuvenation, longevity, purpose, so you could be motivated, stimulated, activated, captivated, so you can be everything God wants you to be. Do everything God wants you to do and have everything He wants you to have. But you got to take ownership. You got to take ownership. The more energy you command, oh, I love this. Thank you, Lord. Lord, just drop this in my spirit. The more energy you command, the more life you can live. Then He said, I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And why is it, even in church, why is it that some people are not having that life? Because they're not taking ownership. We're going to God after we do so much damage. God, can you fix this? How about preventative? How about let's avoid all the damage? And if damage has been done, okay, take ownership. It could get fixed. It could get fixed. All right, here's my number. 973-873-8004. Margaret says 66 years old. Yes, Margaret, I'm 66. Don't rub it in. I don't feel 66, whatever that is anyway. I don't know. I don't feel 66. My wife tell me I'm young, so that's all that count. 973-873-8004. All right. Feel free to call me, and it'll be either me or my wife, or both of us would love to speak to you and help you in any way possible, because this is what we're called to. This is in helping people to improve their lives. And this message is really not a difficult one. It might be unusual and different from what you've heard. But again, I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I was a late bloomer even in marriage and having children. And I could tell you, if it wasn't for these particular things, metabolism, right? If it wasn't for these particular things, VO2 max, body voltage, first of all, I wouldn't have been able to get married. Number two, have children late in marriage, 3 of them, and do pastor and running my office in New York and New Jersey and all the other stuff that I do. This stuff works, y'all. It really works. And guess what? It was God's plan from the beginning. God never designed us to take drugs and pharmaceuticals and all that stuff. He designed us to really follow His plan and take responsibility so we can be what He wants us to be, do what He wants us to do, have what He wants us to have. Okay? And again, my email is Bishop, BISHOP, at Bishop Womack, BISHOP, WOMACK.com. Bishop at BishopWomack.com. And email me your address and stuff. I'll send you one of our magazines as well. Okay? And again, I'll say my number one more time and let y'all go. 973-873-8004. Hopefully we'll be on next week. If my schedule is good, we'll be on next week, same time. Share with somebody about this time of coming together and improving our life so we can be better. God bless you all. Thank you for your time. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Pow Talk. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to learn more about the benefits of holistic health to reach a higher zone of living, go to our website, www.bishopwomack.com, and be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on new episodes. Until next time, remember, there's only one place to go. Up, 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 and over the top.